All right. Welcome, everyone. We are going to give this another minute or so until we get a few more people start to join in. All right. We've got people trickling in slowly, so we should get started shortly. Hope everyone's having a fantastic day, guys. My name is Sid Sur, and joining me today is my brother and partner, Saurabh Sur. Together, we run Team Sur Real Estate here in Toronto with Royal LePage. We're based in Toronto, but we service all across the GTA. And today, we're going to be covering what's perhaps one of the biggest housing incentives that has been offered in a very long time. The government announced just a few days ago that they're going to be removing the full 13% HST on new homes. So we're going to be breaking down exactly what that means, how much you can expect in savings, who qualifies, what's currently in place, what's announced, any sort of gray area, and any sort of confusion that needs to be cleared, and also the critical deadlines that you guys need to know. Now, everything we shared today in this webinar is strictly from government sources. There are some things that are confirmed, some things still up in the air, so we're going to clear those out too. But if we don't have a confirmed answer on something, then we'll say so. This is purely for educational purposes. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay.
Yeah, we're good.
Awesome. All right. So let's talk about what we're going to be covering. So the presentation is going to be about 30 to 45 minutes. I don't see it going any longer than that. We've structured this to take you from understanding the program to knowing your exact savings numbers, to understanding eligibility rules, deadlines, and finally to see how it can help you build your personal action plan if you are thinking of buying a home in the next 12 months, or maybe you've already purchased a home and you want to see if this applies to you. So we'll also save some time at the end for questions. And we'll also share a couple of bonus real life examples of deals that we're seeing buyers take advantage of right now with the existing rules, and also how it can apply to the new rules. By the way, if you guys have any questions throughout, just throw them in the Q&A chat, and either Saurabh and I will take the questions as we go along, or you can save your questions for the end as well. All right, now this is breaking news. We just learned about this yesterday. I don't know if you guys have been following the news. So this is as current as it gets. Just yesterday, Prime Minister Mark Carney and Doug Ford, they were in Etobicoke, made an announcement of an $8.8 billion deal to cut municipal development charges in half. So I'll talk about what that means, why it matters. The federal government and Ontario will each spend $4.4 billion. That's $8.8 billion in total on housing-related infrastructure over the next 10 years. Now, this money is intended to help municipalities cut development charges by 50% for the next 3 years. So what are development charges, you might be thinking? Now, these are fees that municipalities charge builders to pay for infrastructures like roads, sewers, and water lines whenever there's new density moving into an area. So if builders building a lot of homes or a building, there's a lot of people moving in. So naturally, we need roads, we need sewers, we need water lines. So experts for a long time have warned that these fees have been inflating the cost of home building for years. I know we talk to builders all the time that say that they're forced to increase prices because they're hit with these development charges. And again, the Prime Minister said yesterday they've been, DCs, these development charges, they've been growing at an unsustainable rate, increasing the cost of every new home, compressing margins for builders, and they've been stalling new builds and stalling construction. So if you're not aware, if builders don't sell, they cannot start construction, and that has a ripple effect, which we'll talk about. And here's the headline that I think is key in what Mark Carney said at the news yesterday, is that he said to reporters that the scrapped HST that we're going to cover, combined with the lower development charges, could reduce the cost of a new home by up to $200,000. So that's up to $200,000 in savings for a new home purchase potentially. So obviously the government isn't just doing one thing. They're layering incentives on top of incentive. You've got HST removal, which we're going to cover, development charge cuts, federal infrastructure funding, and they're going all in on getting new homes built and making them affordable. they need the construction industry to survive, and they're spending billions to make it happen. So for you as a buyer, this could be unprecedented. You've got a 1 year window, and we'll talk about the dates where the stars might align in your favor more than they have in a very long time. So let me first begin by, before we get into the details of the HST program, why the government is doing this, right? And the reality is that Ontario's housing sector is in crisis. And this program is really designed as an economic stimulus. Number one, housing starts have collapsed. So Ontario housing starts fell 25% in the first half of 2025 compared to 2024. And just in the first quarter of 2025, only 12,700 units were started. That's the lowest level since 2009. And in Toronto specifically, housing starts have declined 58% in the first 5 months of 2025. New condo sales in the GTA were down 90% from the 10-year averages. Now, this has a direct impact on jobs. So that brings us to construction and how jobs are disappearing. Ontario has shed 12,000 construction jobs in the past year alone. The CEO of Residential Construction Council of Ontario had said publicly that they're in the process of laying off thousands of people right now. Altus Group, which is a data intelligence firm, estimates that 105 to 170,000 construction jobs are at risk nationally based on the current state of pre-construction sales. And also, Ontario's deficit went from $1.1 billion to $13.8 billion in a single year, which is largely driven by tariff impacts on manufacturing, lost tax revenue, and the province also lost 38,000 jobs between April and June of 2025 alone, with over 29,000 jobs in manufacturing due to the U.S. tariffs that are largely on steel and aluminum. And the 2026 projections aren't getting any better. So 2026 housing start projection is now at 64,800 units. That's down 10,000 from what was forecast just last year. So the government's original promise was to build 1.5 million homes by 2031. This is an announcement they made back in 2021 that in the next 10 years, they would build 1.5 million new homes to make housing more affordable. And now the finance minister is describing that as a soft target. And when he was asked if it was still achievable, he said it was not, and that was not a focus on the target. So the bottom line is, guys, the government is spending billions in combined federal and provincial tax relief as a bet that it will generate 8,000 additional housing starts, support 21,000 new jobs, boost Ontario's GDP by 2.7 billion. So this is supply side stimulus. It's designed to save the construction industry as much as it is to help individual buyers. And that's exactly why this could be a very powerful opportunity for buyers right now. The government needs you to buy. They've structured the incentive to be as attractive as possible because they're desperate to get construction activity moving again.
So let me kind of just walk you guys through what's truly changed from last year, right? So before the announcement, Ontario already had a new housing rebate, a HST rebate in place. It provided you with 75% rebate on the provincial 8%, but it was capped off at 24,000. So if some of you have already bought homes in the past, you'd have seen that, flow through your as an adjustment. And that's the maximum. The $24,000 was the maximum you could get. Now, what the government announced on March 25th was the temporary expansion of that existing program. Now, what they're doing now is they're removing the entire 8% provincial portion, and the federal government has also agreed to cover the 5% of GST on the federal side, meaning now the entire 13% HST is effectively eliminated on qualifying homes up to $1 million. And again, in later slides, we'll kind of talk about where this incentive starts to trail off. Now, there's also administered by CRA, and the window is exactly 1 year. So it starts tomorrow, April 1st, 2026, and it's a 1 year window. It'll take you to March 31st of 2027. So this only applies to purchases made within this window. Now, important caveat is the 5% federal portion is still requiring passage of the federal legislation. Ontario has committed the 8% their portion. And the federal government has agreed, but the regulatory process is still underway. Okay, so let's kind of go through an example, to make this real. When a builder advertised an $800,000 condo on a new home, there's a hidden HST inside of that number. So the base price on an $800,000 purchase is $729,203. The actual cost before this is the actual cost of the home before taxes. Then the builder adds the entire 13%, which is provincial 8% at just over 58,000. The federal GST portion, which is about 36,000. So subtotal, before any sort of rebates is 824,000. Now, if you're end user, the builder would technically take away the 75% of the provincial portion up to 24,000. So on an $800,000 purchase, your PST portion is 58. They're going to credit you back the 24, making the purchase price of $800,000. So a base price of 729, your ultimate purchase price is now 800. Now, you're absorbing, in this scenario, you're absorbing the entire tax, the entire 13% minus the rebate. You're absorbing that entire tax. However, you're still paying over $70,000 in HST, which is hidden inside the price. And there's a federal rebate because of this base price of exceeding, 450,000, which is that $24,000 rebate. Now, let me show you what's changed under the new program. Now, you take the same home at $800,000 under this new expanded program. Your base price is still $729,203. The provincial HST portion of $58,336 which will now be eliminated. The federal portion of the 5%, which is about $36,460, would also be eliminated. So you get the entire HST of $94,796, and it covers both the provincial as well as the federal portion. So your total savings, if you added back that $24,000 rebate that you were previously getting, now you're still saving over $70,000 compared to what you were paying, before the program. Now, this could really mean a bigger down payment for some of you, lower mortgage payments, and tens of thousands of dollars in interest savings over the next, 25 or 30 years. Now, the bigger news was this was actually expanded to all buyers, not just first-time buyers. However, it only applies for 1 year, as I mentioned earlier, from April 1st of 2026, which is tomorrow, to March 31st, 2027. Now, let's start actual dollars, because this is what makes the program truly jaw-dropping. So on a $500,000 home, if you're looking at, $500,000 home, you save over $65,000 in HST. On a $700,000 home, that's over $91,000 in HST. On a $1 million home, you save the entire 13% of $130,000. Now, this is the maximum you're going to get under the program. Now, at 1.5 million, they start phasing it down. They keep it the same at 130,000. And as you go up to 1.7 million, it reduces to 69,000. And at $1.85 million and up, it just goes down to $24,000, which is the pre-existing rebate that you're currently getting. Now, just to caveat, every single one of these numbers come directly from the Ministry of Finance media briefings, which is published as of March 25th.
Yeah. All right. So before we continue, obviously these are published government numbers. The question is, how does this apply to your specific situation? Maybe you've purchased a property already and you're wondering if this applies to you, or maybe you are thinking of buying and you want to know how it will apply to you as well. What price range you're looking at, what type of home, is it pre-construction or ready built? Everyone's numbers are different. So if you want us to run your personal savings calculation, we'll be happy to do that on a one-on-one, no obligation call. Saurabh's going to drop a booking link in the chat. Feel free to follow that and book a time with either of us, or you can also scan the QR code that is on the screen right now. Okay, moving on. Thanks, Saurabh, for dropping the link. So guys, the link is in the chat. If you guys want to go in there and book a time, feel free to do that. So who qualifies? First and foremost, as Saurabh mentioned earlier, this is not limited to first-time buyers. The Ontario Budget Annex explicitly states that these rebates are not limited to individuals who would qualify for the proposed provincial rebate for first-time home buyers. All buyers are eligible. So it covers newly built or substantially renovated homes. So condos, townhomes, detached. The key is that it must be new construction where HST was charged. Okay, now the home must be used as either your primary place of residence or as a residential rental property. So yes, investors buying new builds for rental income also qualify under the new residential rental property rebate, which, by the way, Saurabh mentioned earlier, there is an existing program for that where you get capped at $24,000 in Ontario. But with the new proposition, they will qualify for the full HST rebate as well of the entire 13%. So what does not qualify? Resale homes or existing homes. So think of resale or existing homes as if you're driving down the street and you see a for sale sign that has an existing owner, those don't apply. Okay. Or if you have a condo that's been listed, doesn't apply. Okay. Homes where HST was not charged does not apply. And any purchase agreement that is signed outside of the April 2026 to March 2027 window also does not apply because this new program has a deadline date, which we'll cover shortly. Now, with that said, you might be wondering, does this apply to me in my specific situation? We know that it applies to those, first-time buyers and investors, but what about different scenarios? So if you are a first-time buyer right now, you get the strongest coverage. You get the full 13% HST removed on new homes up to $1 million, saving you instantly up to $130,000. On top of that, you're protected by Bill C-4, the federal legislation that received royal assent a couple of weeks ago on March 12th, which eliminates the GST for first-time buyers on homes up to $1 million with agreements that were signed after March 20th, 2025. And this new home must be your primary residence. So let's say you bought a house, you're a first-time buyer, you bought a house through a builder, developer, and you signed the purchase agreement after March 20th of last year, March 20th, the current existing programs will apply to you, and you can take advantage of the full 13% HST removal. Move-up buyers. This is one that a lot of people miss. If you already own a home and you're looking to upgrade, say you're upgrading from a condo to a townhouse or detached, you still qualify. The March 25th expansion explicitly covers all buyers, not just first-time buyers. And again, the Ontario budget annex states that these rebates are not limited to individuals who would qualify for the proposed provincial rebate for first-time buyers. Your new build must be your primary residence. Downsizers, same deal. If you're selling your current home and buying a smaller new build, a new condo, a bungalow townhome, you get the full rebate. There's no age restrictions. There's no status restrictions. The only requirement is that the new home is your primary residence and it's new construction. Now let's move on to investors. This is the one that gets the most questions. Yes, investors do qualify, but through a different stream. The new residential rental property rebate applies if you're buying a new build to rent out. The key difference is the completion deadline is tighter. So December 31st, 2029 instead of 2031. And the property must be used as a residential rental, not a vacation property or a short-term rental. So no matter which of these profiles fits you, the next step is the same. You need to understand how your specific timeline maps against the government deadlines. And that's exactly what we cover in our strategy call. So again, the link is in the chat. If you've got something that doesn't apply here, then feel free to book a time with us and we're happy to walk over that with you. Okay, so this is one of the most critical sections, the deadlines that matter. These deadlines are what separate people who save the max of 130,000 from people who save nothing, right? So let me walk you through the timeline. The program window opens tomorrow, April 1st, 2026, and it closes on March 31st, 2027. And the agreement the purchase agreement with the builder must be signed within this 1-year window. So let's look at a couple of scenarios. Scenario one is for a completely new build. So you signed the purchase agreement within the window. Construction must begin by December 31st, 2008, and the home must be substantially completed by December 31st, 2031. So you have about 5 years from signing to completion. Scenario two is for homes already under construction before March 2026. So you still need to sign the purchase agreement within the window, but the completion deadline's tighter. The completion deadline is December 31st, 2029 instead of 2031. Okay, again, both of these scenarios, they come verbatim from the Ministry of Finance briefing.
We're going to kind of cover both pre-construction and ready build. Both again, just to see which one is ready for which path is really ready for you, pre-construction or that ready built home. So pre-construction, the advantage that you get is you're locking in the purchase agreement within the window that Sid talked about, and the builder has maximum runway to complete this project. So until December 2028 to start, as Sid mentioned, and then December 2031 to substantially complete the project. That's about 5-year window. So you get a longer runway in the pre-construction world. Now, there's risks associated with the pre-construction. It's the reality of pre-construction, as many of you have seen over the last couple of years. There's risks associated with delays. If the project gets canceled or does not get completed on time, you could miss that deadline. Now, ready build or near completion, there's a lot of projects that are, right now built. We see in the news media every day that there's, a lot of inventory of new homes that are currently in the market, or, homes that are ready to be completed shortly. It gives you a faster possession timeline. And also gives you lower risk because the project is near completion or completed. You can actually, in some of these instances, you're actually able to see and inspect the home before you buy it. But if construction's already started before March 2026, the completion deadline is tighter. So if this is for homes that are near completion, the deadline is December 2029 as opposed to 2031. So your home must be completed by December 2029. Now, the key question for every buyer is, how your personal timeline would align with these government timelines. And that's analysis that turns this program from a headline into actual money in your pocket. So again, to Sid's point earlier, we've got that link in the chat. If you want to just book that strategy call, 15 minutes, no obligation, we'll be happy to run you through it. Okay, next slide. Okay. So again, this is a very important section, and we want to be completely transparent with you guys in the webinar. The government has published this as really a headline program, right? There's price tiers, there's rebate bounds, the eligibility window, but there's specific details that we still don't know, right? They've not been confirmed yet. The CRA application process for specific expansion they've not been published. The standard process uses Form GST 190, but again, we don't know if there's going to be a modified process for this 1-year expansion program. Now, there's questions around assignments, right? Or do assignments qualify? Do lot and land purchases, will they qualify? Custom-built homes, will they qualify? They've all not been addressed in any of the published material. So again, those details are coming, in the upcoming months. The federal legislation still needs to pass. It's not passed yet. They've confirmed that they're acting towards it, but again, nothing's been confirmed. Ontario has committed its portion, but the federal 5% again depends on the regulatory enactment. And interestingly, the Ontario Budget Annex states that the eligibility for the $24,000 rebate that we spoke about earlier is proposed to end after the proposed enhancement period. That means that $24,000 would go away. So the pre-existing rebate could be completely eliminated after this window closes. Again, as soon as these more details come out, we'll be updating our client base regularly. So again, if you sign up on that link, we'll be happy to share that information as soon as it becomes available before it hits the news.
Awesome. Guys, this is something if you are thinking of buying, or maybe you've already made a purchase, or you're in the cooling off period, just go ahead and take a screenshot of this entire slide deck. These are 5 questions you should be asking at every single new home sales center that you visit. Questions you should ask the builder or the builder sales team if you're there. Question number 1 is the price inclusive of HST? So this one's critical. When a builder says they're advertising a price of $800,000, you need to ask them if that's is that the stated price net of rebates? Like, is HST already baked in and the rebates already been subtracted? Or is that a base price with HST to be added on top? Now, the difference could be in the tens of thousands of dollars. We showed you earlier, Saurabh went over examples how the 800,000 price actually has a 70,000, just north of $70,000 in HST hidden inside it. So if a builder quotes you $800,000 base price and then adds HST on top, your real cost is much higher. So very important question to ask when you see the price list. Question two, construction and start completion dates. The government has strict deadlines. Construction must begin, as we said, by December 31st, 2028, and be substantially completed by December 31st, 2031. So for builds already underway before March 2026, the completion deadline is tighter. So it's December 31st, 2029 instead of 2031. So if the builder can't commit to meeting these timelines, your rebate eligibility could be at risk. So make sure that you get projected dates in writing in the builder's agreement of purchase and sale. There's a page called Statement of Critical Dates. That's what you want to take a look at. Again, if you're not sure, let us know and we'll be happy to guide you guys through that. Question three, rebate assignment at closing. Now, most builders for primary residence purchases will assign the rebate, meaning they will credit it to you at closing so you don't have to apply to the CRA yourself and wait to get a check from them. But this isn't guaranteed. If the builder doesn't assign it, you'll need to submit the form. Currently, it's form GST 190 to the CRA after closing and wait for the processing. If there's any new forms with this new program, we don't know about that yet, and I'm sure the government will confirm shortly. But either way, confirm which approach the builder uses before you sign anything. Okay. Question four, have they adjusted pricing? Now, these are questions that a lot of buyers are too polite to ask, but you should, right? Some builders may raise their base prices after the HST removal announcement to capture part of the savings for themselves. So compare the builder's pricing from before March 25th, 2026 to their current pricing. If prices went up by the same amount as the rebate, well, you're not actually saving anything. So be very mindful of that and ask questions about the prices. Question five, this is an important one. What if construction is delayed? So delays happen. Saurabh mentioned earlier, delays are inevitable oftentimes, especially with pre-construction, supply chain issues, permit delays, labor shortages. The question is, what happens to your rebate eligibility if the builder misses the government's completion deadline? Now, this could be a real risk, especially with the December 2029 deadline for projects already under construction. So understand the builder's track record and get any completion guarantees in writing. Now, these are the kind of questions we help our clients navigate every single day. So if you're planning to visit a sales center or you've already received a builder's offer, we'd love to review it with you on a free strategy call. Again, the booking link is in the chat. So let's talk about your next steps before we get into some real live offers right now and deals that are in the market with this program. So what should you do? Step one would be to, if you are in the market to buy within the next few months, get your mortgage pre-approval in order because the window opens tomorrow, April 1st. Buyers who benefit most will be the ones, ready to sign quickly. Step two is understand your target price point. The rebate structure heavily favors homes at or below the $1 million mark, where you can apply for that full 13% removal, and between $1 million and 1.5, where the 130 is the max, that's also maintained. Step three is start looking at new construction inventory. We'll cover a couple right now. Pre-construction launches, new condo projects, builder inventory homes. Know what's available in your target area. And number four, get personalized advice. And that's, our segue really. It's one of the most important things to say is make sure you strategize before you do anything. And again, we're happy to do that with you guys if you guys book in a time with us.
Thanks. And so let's kind of look at some of the real life examples currently. This is one of our listings on the Queensway. It's 1195 the Queensway. I'll kind of break this down. As of today, I mean, this program will only be eligible as of for the deals written as of tomorrow. But as of today, the price on this is $589,000. It's a 2-bedroom plus study with 2-bathroom, parking locker included, brand new inventory condo by Marlin Spring. It's 806 square feet, move-in ready home, and it's close to transit, close to Costco and highway. The base price of this is, sorry, the price after tax is 589,000, which is inclusive of $41,669 of HST, a federal portion of $26,062 in GST. So the full tax on this 67,000. As of tomorrow, if you write this, both of those taxes will be eliminated. You're going to be saving 67,000 minus the 24 because the $24,000 we talked about earlier is already inclusive of 589,000. So you add that back. So your net price is going to be 549,000 for 806 square feet, 2 bedroom plus study. So again, this is one of the inventories that we currently have as part of our team right here on the Queensway.
So Rob, just for context, what would a unit like this have cost, say a couple of years ago in 2022?
Yeah, so the peak of the market, I know purchases in this building, the same layout, they would have bought closer to about that $900 to $1,000 a foot mark.
Hmm.
So current square feet would have cost them anywhere between 750 to $800,000
Right. So
with parking.
over
I
almost,
mean, at the peak of from the peak of the market, you look at a purchase price, even if you call it 750,000, and that did not include parking and locker.
right.
Now you're comparing that to 545 odd thousand dollars. It's over $250,000 of savings from the peak of the market. Again, the savings are significant. And for some of you that are investors out there, at $545,000, this actually cash flows. I ran the number for one of my investor clients yesterday. At $545,000, this actually cash flows. It generates about $2,800 in rent. And even a first-time buyer, if you're renting a 2 bedroom condo, an average 2 bedroom condo in the city of Toronto, you're looking at anywhere from $2,800 to $3,400 in rent. It's actually you're better off buying at this point as opposed to renting. Now there is a period where builders are unsure. Like I got off the phone with a couple of builders this morning. They're unsure about like how to enact this rebate, if they're going to be taking off the purchase price, or if they're going to be, if they're just going to write the deal itself and the buyers apply for it. In my eyes, currently there's a small window of opportunity where announcements have gone through, and the buyers that take action right now, they're going to be, in my opinion anyway, they're going to be the ones saving the most. Because think about it, on a $590,000 purchase, you put 10% down, about $58,000 down, you're going to get a check of, about $50,000 back from the government. So you essentially have zero down payment, on a purchase like this. So I feel like there's a short window of opportunity where buyers are able to go in, get the purchase, and then get a rebate back from the government as method of a check. Soon enough, though, I think that window will close because I don't think banks would let you, qualify or get a condo for 589,000 and get a check back from the government. So I think long term, when this thing has been laid out, I feel like the builder will just take the price, the tax off the purchase price, and then sell you the condo at a lower price.
Yeah. Great point.
We'll go to the next one here. This is Caledon Club. Again, by Fernbrook Homes. It's a 3 bedroom, optional fourth, two and a half bathroom, single car garage, 1,972 square feet detached home on a 30-foot lot. Major intersections, McLaughlin and Mayfield. Occupancies fall of next year. Again, it falls within that window because they're already doing sales right now. As of today, the price listed is $979,990, which includes the provincial tax of $69,380, federal tax of $43,000. So altogether, your 13% tax is $112. Add back the $24,000 that they already inclusive in that price. So what you pay today is $891,000 for detached homes in Caledon. Like it's again, this is better than resale pricing. I was looking at resale pricing in Caledon, and you can't. I mean, they're closer to that 1 million, 1.1 million mark. You're now able to get almost $100,000 to $150,000 off resale pricing, which is unheard of in this market.
Yeah, that's a great point, right? It is in many cases we're seeing a lot of condo inventory, low-rise inventory sell lower than resale prices, and which we haven't seen in a very long time, almost 10 years. But also builders are quite motivated to sell at this point. So we're seeing our clients, we're negotiating deals with builders that are getting them sort of a better incentives to sell, right? Because oftentimes on the resale side, you have a seller that may not want to let it go for a certain price because they're already tied to it. They may not have enough equity to even sell it for that price. But on builder side, they have a cost, right? And what they want to do is they want to sell and move on. And so you might find that there's more room to negotiate on builder deals than on the resale side. But of course, you can always compare the two. And also with brand new homes from the builder, you get carry-on warranty. It's brand new. No one's ever lived in it before. You're going into something that was just, it's a new build. So a lot of great pros to buying a new build at this time, especially low rise and also condos, because condo prices have just completely, gone down significantly over the last few years. So great advantages if you're a first time buyer. Maybe you don't qualify for $1 million, but you qualify for 500,000-600,000, and you want, say, a 2-bedroom for what was the number, sir? Up 545?
35,000.
Mark?
I mean, the last time I saw that price, 545, I remember buying at Lakeshore and Park Lawn,
Yeah,
investment property back in 2016, and
that's
that's when
right.
I 35,000. So almost, it's almost the same for
Yeah,
800 square feet, 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom. And so in my eyes, you're back with this rebate now. You're back into
2016 prices. Yeah, incredible. All right, guys, with those examples set, again, you are more than welcome to book a free strategy call with us. There's a QR code. There's also a link in the chat that Sarah put earlier. We'll open it up to questions now as well. If you guys have any questions, good time to start strategizing, even if you're not in the market just yet, but you're curious about what it would look like and you want to compare times, whether you should wait, whether you should buy next year, whatever the case is, we're happy to chat with you. So go ahead, scan that code. You can map out your timeline against the deadlines, get your personal savings calculation, and just get an honest assessment, guys. There's no obligation or pressure into booking a call with us.
Yeah, we'll just hold here for a couple of minutes just to see if any of you have questions. If not, just at this point, just scan that QR
Yeah.
code, give me a call with us. I'll be happy to do a one-on-one with you guys. Let's give it a couple more minutes here, and then if there's no questions, then we'll end the webinar. But if there's any questions, we'd be happy to answer. Shima asks, do we have a recording of the webinar? Yes, there will be a recording of the webinar available. As soon as the webinar ends, we're going to be sending it out to the database. So just watch out for that email. We'll send you a live recording or we'll send you a recording, I should say, rather, of the webinar.
Yeah, you guys will get a recording probably by end of day or tomorrow. The recording will have all the slides. If you guys want a slide deck as well, just again, shoot us an email. I'll drop our email in the chat as well. So if you guys just want some more information, you want a copy of the slide deck, then we're happy to share that with you as well. Okay, awesome, guys. If there's no other questions, we are going to go ahead and end the webinar now. We're perfectly at that 45-minute mark. So thank you all for joining. I hope you guys got some value from this. And again, link is there in the chat, QR code. Hit us up, and we'd be happy to book a strategy call with you.
Thanks again, everyone, for joining today, and I hope you got some value out of this webinar. And again, if you have any questions, click on that link below or wait for our recording. We'd be happy to go on that one-on-one call with you.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.